see something dark and evil and twisted in the future. Oh, hello. Welcome to Alethra-Zin RPG. Today I have it in my heart to create a Druid from the 2024 Player's Handbook. And I want this Druid to be on a firm and steady path to becoming a Druid of the Circle of the Sea. So let's get into it and create our ocean-bound spellcaster.
Behold the beauty of the 2024 character sheet. I'm not using that. Behold the more beautiful retro character sheet, which I found online.
There is the image given for the Circle of the Sea subclass in the new 2024 Player's Handbook.
So here we are at step 1. Choose a class. And I've already chosen a class, and that is Druid. So I'm on page 33. This is perhaps for people who haven't made a decision yet, but right here is Druid. It says Druids like nature. We all know that. Primary ability is wisdom. Most, if not all of us, know that. And the complexity is high. Ooh. Yeah. Okay, anyway. So if we turn to page 49, we will turn to page 49. Come hell or high water. Yikes! And here we are at chapter 3, character classes, and that's where it begins, the individual descriptions of every class, and that is where we're going to end up very soon. But first, and so here we are at page 177, which is chapter 4, character origins. Now, the first thing I'm going to choose is a background description, and there are several, as you can see, to choose from. But over here, there's a little bit more information about character backgrounds, and it tells you how the different entries in the actual character backgrounds affect your character and his or her ability scores. I'm going to go over to, first thing is Sailor. I've already chosen that. Remember, this is going to be a ocean-based druid. So here we go with this. This is on page 184. And so it lists 3 ability scores: strength, dexterity, and wisdom. And then it goes on to say feat, tavern brawler, see chapter 5. So a character with this background gets this feat. Skill proficiencies, acrobatics, and perception. So what I'm going to do on the character sheet is start with skill proficiencies. So here's the character sheet. Here's the front of the character sheet that I showed all of you earlier. So right here, the skills, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to make sure that it shows that she is proficient with acrobatics and perception. But then again, no, perception, but not acrobatics. She's got amnesia. She has no memory of acrobatics. She has some knowledge, however, of a religious faith, that of a god of the ocean. So I'm going to go ahead and, there we go, religion. She was part of a traveling seafaring cult, and the ship that she was aboard sunk, and she washed up on the shore, and she doesn't remember much of her past, but she does know about that. So she didn't lose all of her memories. And anyway, so going forward, we have tool proficiency, navigator's tools. So, tools. Now, does she remember how to use those? I don't know. I'll decide later. Let's see. Equipment, I'm not going to do the whole choose that sort of thing. It says choose A or B, dagger, navigator's tools, rope, traveler's clothes, 20 gold pieces, or B, 50 gold pieces, so the character can, you can go buy all this stuff. But I'm just going to go ahead and say, okay, so feat, tavern, brawler. I'm not really sure about that because I had an idea before on what I wanted to do, and you'll see what I'm talking about later. Just remember tavern brawler feat. I'm probably not going to let her have that. But anyway, I'm going to note strength, dex, and wisdom. Strength, dex, and wisdom. Just like this. So strength, dex, and go wisdom. So that will remind me. That's good enough. So it's on to the next. So we have arrived at page 194, where we have the human species and human traits. Just quickly, creature type humanoid, size medium, about 4 to 7 feet tall, or small, about 2 to 4 feet tall, chosen when you select this species. Speed 30 feet. As a human, you have these special traits. Resourceful. You gain heroic inspiration whenever you finish a long rest. Skillful. You gain proficiency in one skill of your choice. And versatile. You gain an origin feat of your choice. See Chapter 5. Skilled is recommended. So, with respect to this, I think skillful, you gain proficiency in one skill of your choice. I'm just going to go ahead and choose that real fast. So, looking down at her sheet, let's see. Let's go with perhaps. This one's tough for some reason. You know what? I'm going to choose stealth. Okay, and here I've marked out race and entered species, and I'm going to put human. Now, if you had a little look at the last image of this Druid character that I have presented before you, you may have noticed that on her neck she had gills. There is a water breathing spell, to be sure, but wouldn't it be kind of cool if she simply had gills, but she was amphibious and could breathe air and water? We'll come back to that. So quickly, I'm looking at page 38 in the player's handbook, and there are 3 methods to generate your character's ability scores. I'm going to use random generation, which is method number 2. Roll 4d6s and record the total of the highest 3 dice. It says do this 5 more times, and so that you have 6 numbers. However, I'm going to do something a little different, and I will probably give myself at least 1 reroll. So here is the dice tower. Got my 4d6s. I'm going to write down these stats right here. Ooh, oh no. And so here we go. Got one that came out the back. So what do we have here? 6, it's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Sorry about that. Once again, same problem. $17. That's 11. My goodness, I rolled all sixes. Okay. I actually do not believe I've ever done that before. So it's 11 to 13. And what do we have here? So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So there are her scores. So before I write those on the character sheet, I want to note something. I have watched at least part of the television series about Sinbad, and he is cursed. He has this magical amulet or necklace that if he leaves the ship and goes ashore for, I think it's like a whole 24 hours or 8 hours, I forget, it will tighten up on his throat, around his throat, and choke him to death. I have decided that she will have, if she's ever a mile or more, or excuse me, more than a mile away from the ocean, then her constitution score will be halved, and she will have disadvantage on all constitution based checks, saving throws, and such. So I'm going to go ahead and write these down. That 18 is definitely going to be wisdom. So I'm going to go with her strength. It's going to be her weakest. And actually, I should, in fact, have not written that in ink. That was a big mistake. Because, remember the dots from earlier? I'll have to go back to that. Let's see. I'm going to put, well, what it is, let's see. It's in Origins. Once again, what it means is simply this. A background lists 3 of the character's ability scores. Increase one by 2 and another by 1, or increase all 3 by 1. None of these increases can, of course, go above 20. So I'm going to leave that at 18. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a 13 strength. That's increased by 2. And her perhaps her dexterity. Let me see. Give her an 18 in dexterity. Okay, so that does it for that. I got a 13, a 15, and a 15. So 15 charisma. And a 13 intelligence. And finally, a 15 in constitution. So round that down, of course. I'm going to have that if she's ever a mile or over a mile away from the ocean. and her score will drop from 15 to 7. So that's got her ability scores. Now for the modifiers. Now modifiers, of course, for those who do not know, there they are, and they are on page 38. And one more thing I want to note, it talks about describe appearance and personality. It gives you this little chart to tell you sort of what your ability scores might actually mean if one were to look at your character or get to know your character or be around your character. For example, dexterity, we've got on the high dex, positive side, lithe, dynamic, fidgety, poised, and on the low side of that, we have jittery, clumsy, hesitant, and unsteady. So that's just a little something else, but I'm going to go ahead and put in the little numbers here. Okay, so that's going to be a +1. That's going to be a 4. It's going to be a 2. That's going to be a 1 and a 4 and then a 2. So there we go. Now, every character, of course, at first level, every character has a proficiency bonus of +2. So I might as well go ahead and put that in there. So going to add this over here. We'll get to that in a second. And here we are for the 4th step. Choose an alignment. Page 39. And here are the 9 alignments. And I'm going to have to go neutral good for this one. Neutral good characters do the best they can, working within the rules but not feeling bound by them. A kindly person who helps others according to their needs is probably neutral good. And there's a little bit over here on this page, page 40. Personality traits by alignment. So we good, compassionate, helpful, honest, kind, and neutral, selfish, disinterested, laconic, and pragmatic. Worry about these things later. Next. Okay, so here we are for the finishing touches, as it were. We're going to look at the Druid class itself, the feats and equipment, and that's probably going to pretty much wrap it up. So what I've got here, as you can see this right here, this little chart, primary ability is wisdom, hit point, die, and so forth and so on. I'm just going to kind of go over this. That is her current hit point total. But what I have decided is that anytime she is more than a mile away from the ocean, she becomes greatly weakened. And so for every 8 hours that she is over a mile away from the ocean, she takes a level of exhaustion. And also her hit, as soon as she goes that distance, her constitution score is lowered by half. And therefore that affects her hit point maximum. But anyway, but as it stands, she has 10 hit points. Her armor class is 14, only figuring in her dexterity modifier of 4, so she has no armor. Her speed, being of the human species, is 6 5-foot squares or 30 feet. And her initiative is actually +6, and I've got +2 in modifiers. And I wrote calculated because I actually went ahead and figured it in. All this fill in later, but so you have human, neutral, good, next level 300 experience points, and this is her name, Elowyn Tide Whisper. Now, I went ahead and figured in a few other things. So looking at this, just real quick, I've picked out a couple more skill proficiencies. As you can see here, animal handling and I believe the other one was nature. So, um, turning over this way, we find out that she has 2 cantrips, and she has, at any time, she can prepare 4 spells and has 2 first-level spell slots. Now, here's the sheet for spells and magic, and you can plainly see that I have more than 2 cantrips. And the reason for that is this over here. It's level 1 primal order. The choice is between the magician and the warden. And the thing is, warden says trained for battle. You gain proficiency with martial weapons and training with medium armor. I don't think that fits the concept. So I chose the magician, which states that she knows 1 extra cantrip from the druid spell list. In addition, it says your mystical connection to nature gives you a bonus to your intelligence, arcana, or nature checks. The bonus equals your wisdom modifier, a minimum bonus of +1. So that's the reason why she has, and these are the spells I chose. As you can see, Cure Wounds, Entangle, Fog Cloud, Speak with Animals here, first level. What I like is the idea of Entangle being seaweed. And I love the idea of Fog Cloud being the ink from an octopus. That's pretty cool. So you have here her spellcasting ability modifier, which is Wisdom +4, and her spell save DC 14. That's 8 plus proficiency bonus plus ability modifier. And then finally, her spell attack is her proficiency bonus plus her spellcasting ability modifier. So a +6. All in all, that's pretty good. Anyway, so we're going to go on to the feats, and I'll show what I did there. Page 199. And I've written down the actual page numbers. So right here are the choices. But looking at the page numbers, I've got, first of all, the feat called Alert, and it's an origin feat. And she got one of those for being of the human species. You gain the following benefits: initiative proficiency. Now that's where that extra +2 came in there. When you roll initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll. So that's going to get really good later on, right? So initiative swap. Immediately after you roll initiative, you can swap your initiative with the initiative of 1 willing ally in the same combat. You can't make this swap if you or the ally has the incapacitated condition. Okay, and the next one is over here. It's called Lucky, and it is an origin feat. You gain the following benefits. We'll go ahead and read this. Luck points. You have a number of luck points equal to proficiency bonus and can spend the points on the benefits below. You regain your expended luck points when you finish a long rest. So, advantage. When you roll a d20 for a d20 test, you can spend 1 luck point to give yourself advantage on the roll. Disadvantage. When a creature rolls a d20 for an attack roll against you, you can spend 1 luck point to impose disadvantage on the roll. I suppose someone like her would have to be lucky, because what I've decided, remember what I said about her weaknesses. If she is, say, like I said, uh, over a mile away from the ocean, she becomes very vulnerable and very weak. It's some spell or curse, something like that. I'm thinking there's probably a magical silver trident somewhere in the ocean that will cure that or something. I don't know. But the thing is, the closest community to her, the closest town, is about 1.5 miles away. So perhaps 2 miles. So it's perhaps potentially a dangerous prospect for her to venture too far away from the ocean. I think that's kind of an interesting little something there. So I gave her 65 gold pieces. So she's got money to spend out of, well, away from the ocean. And as far as equipment, equipment's concerned, I've only outfitted her with a quarterstaff. So it's versatile. So it's 1d8 plus 1 if she holds it with two hands. One handed is 1d6 plus 1. So don't think there's much else we can. But anyway, equipment can be found in chapter 6 on page 213. So that's here. And here's the usual list. So anyway. Well, I hope you all enjoyed my little video about the creation of the ocean druid Elwyn Tide Whisper. And I just wanted to make another quick note, point out the fact that she has a trinket. And here is the trinket, a 25-cent piece minted 2039 in the USA. She has no idea. Anyway, that is Elwyn Tide Whisper, and I hope in future videos I will be doing some solo role playing, and it'll all be in real time, and hopefully with this very character and others. And so everybody have a good one and take care until I return. Goodbye.